All right. Are you ready, my friend?
I am ready.
All right. So, hello everybody. Welcome to Hanging Out with the Boys,
With the boys.
Part 2. Today's well, I shouldn't say today's. This episode's guest.
Tonight.
Yeah, tonight, We don't have to tell them that I do it later in the night. We can be shifty.
It's actually 6 o'clock in the morning. We just woke up
Yeah.
ready to go.
We're doing this 3:45 a.m. We're in Ukraine, and we're just vibing. But we got Bazon, by the way, as this episode's guest. So Bazon, how the fuck are you? All right, this is actually the first time I think you and me are talking. Like, actually,
That's criminal.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
actually criminal.
I know. Not to say like we don't message each other or whatever, but yes, this is
No. I'm definitely in the DMs. Yeah.
yeah, but
Late at night.
but definitely this is the first time we've ever talked. So, I
No,
consider it an honor.
actually. No. I appreciate you being here. We definitely should have linked up beforehand, at least with Apex or when Cold War was in its prime for
Yeah.
League play, because none of my friends wanted to play League play. So I could have definitely needed some aim assist support. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Trust me, I got that shit on lock. So, so I guess I will start this off by saying, why the fuck me? I think it was 2 years ago you followed me on Twitter. I was like, okay, I knew that you knew like Smurf and stuff, but I kind of looked at you and I'm like, okay, why in God's green earth is this guy following me? So I was like, you know what, I'll just see, his content, see what it is. I was like, all right, this guy's pretty chill.
Yeah. I mean, the question is more like, why not? Just as me and you both know, there's a lot of weirdos on the app, a lot of interesting people with some dog shit takes.
Facts.
I'll get a curse here. I don't know if this is a family friendly
Bro, you can say whatever
podcast.
the fuck you want. I don't care.
Okay.
All right, we're doing it for
Just
the
had to make sure had to make sure for the sponsors today.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, to be honest, why not? I mean, like me today, I'm definitely a lot more stringent on who I follow, because I'm starting to notice who I follow really puts people in certain spotlights.
Mhm.
Where before it was just like, let me try to follow as many people as I could and see if they would interact with me. Because 2 years ago, 2020, at best I was rocking with like 300 followers. So, and I had to be following like 1,000 people at that time. So I was just the random kid on the block. So I was like, hey, Call of Duty tweets, I'll take it. A little bit of Rocket League here and there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, well, that answers a lot of questions. Because I sat there and like I was talking about it with some of my friends, and they're like, "Do you even know who the fuck that guy is?" I'm like, "No."
That's honestly, yeah, it's so interesting, because I don't know about you, but I've been using Twitter since like 2011. My mom, she's a nurse, and she had some patient, and she was telling her, hey, yeah, you should check out Twitter. It's like 2009, like when Twitter was like this niche thing. And I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. And it took me, let's say, about 10 years of just messing around on Twitter on different accounts and different things, just not knowing what the fuck to do. It finally clicked. I'm like, oh, you have to interact with people. That's how you're supposed to grow. There's no algorithm on Twitter,
Right.
And because you sit here and think, you look at all these Twitters and you're like, how do people grow, right?
Right.
And I think I have this suspicion that there's this sect of people on Twitter where they bot accounts, they sell accounts, and then they make like the dog shit tweets for teenagers, like those love tweet teenage posts that are like, if you didn't love me, you're never gonna find anybody else, or some dog shit take on love, like, if you don't know my middle name, where we met, what temperature my body was when I met you, you're fake. You're a fake fan.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know. Or just like you look at a tweet and you're like, how does this have 500,000 retweets and 27 comments? Right? What like factory in China is just pumping out this tweet just to make it look clouded, right?
Right, dude.
And then you look at our tweets and there's like, we're shitting bricks when we get more than 20 retweets for like, yo, this shit banged, So yeah. I've definitely learned a lot. There's no reason why I should have over 50 people following me. There's no reason why I should have 1,000 to 2,000 now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. There's so much that I've learned in that journey, which you've been a part of this whole time, right?
I mean, let's see. I think
the solid
a good
portion
chunk of it. Yeah, I would say a good chunk of it. I probably was.
I would say probably around 300. I mean, I remember the Pill's name. You were on my mouse pad that I made.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. So, and that I'd say anybody before the mouse pad are the OGs, right?
I guess. I mean, I didn't think I was considered an OG at the time, but I mean, now probably I would say yeah, but
the only type of people, I mean, I would say so because anybody before that was just people I met on Discord, playing games with and shit like that, which that shit is crazy to me because I remember, I know we're going to get in our topics, but or actually I'll let it organically come. I won't.
Well, no, I mean,
just jump right into it.
I would, if you want to, even I can say, the quote unquote team that we are, the Frisky Beavers, all started from Call of Duty Black Ops 2 in 2012. Those guys that I've played with, I have their phone numbers. I know where they live. I know everything. Like, it's like actually talking to real people. It's like you're actually hanging out with them. And I've been friends with them for years, competed with them for years. And it's like some people have never had that grasp yet or have any idea of that. And it's wild. It's actually wild. So
that's great. I definitely internet friends are interesting in that way because you have the generations of the friends, right? Because there's always people that come and then go, life, family, school, and then you get like the younger generation. They kind of delve into your spot, and then the friends change over time. But your core collective of people, they kind of stay,
right?
But then you have just people that kind of like remember Kids Next Door. That cartoon show when you turn 18 they just say fuck you, right? That's how it feels. It's like once you have a wife and kids it's like fuck you, you're too old, you're the enemy. Because all my internet friends from like 2011 let's say 2010 to 2013, maybe two of them I was able to rekindle them back through my Twitter journey. Like, hey, come join Bread Gang. But everybody else is like grown up.
Yep.
Doing something. So it's interesting. Everybody that I'm connected with now are all just new people.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. That's that's something I guess I'm blessed with. And the other thing too is like, the two of the guys that we are really good friends with, they watch football. I watch football. So we literally like talk about football and, we've actually thought
football,
about like,
right? Yeah.
We've been trying to like plan like trips and, everything. It's actually spooky. It's like actually having them always like in your life. So, I'm very, very thankful for that. Not many people get to experience something like that.
No, I mean they're great. I remember I mean, it's crazy. I remember I paid a friend 1,600 Microsoft points to get me one prestige in Modern Warfare 2. I'm like, hey, can you just get a? I'm like, shout out to them, you know? Or like, yeah. Or like, yeah, can you give me a prestige? I did their homework. You know, I wrote a paper on like, I don't know, like coaching or something like
Jeez.
that in
That's
high
that.
school or something.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So
Or actually, one question since we're on the
yeah,
topic of old times and stuff like that. In Modern Warfare 2, you said Modern Warfare 2 was your first COD.
correct.
Yeah. So, were you in any of the hacked lobbies where you know you
You can
got all
shoot
the
AC
hacks and things?
130s out of
Yeah, yeah, and
the
everything
Predator
like
missile
that.
box. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever get scammed by somebody? Say, hey, I'll go ahead and do the 10th prestige lobby for 1,600 Microsoft points. Did you ever get fucked? Did you
Uh,
know anybody
did
that
I
got
ever
fucked
get
there?
scammed for that? I don't think I did. Actually, no. I did have it happen to me once. I did do that once. Yes, it was
Okay.
for what was it? I think it was like all emblems or something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Something dumb like that.
It
And
was just you saw that spinning emblem and you're like, I'll kill for it. I'll do anything.
yep. But I the kid was an idiot because whenever you change like any of that information, it would just email it like, "Oh, hey, this was changed," and I was like, if this is you or if this isn't you, like, so you could stop it." And I was like, "Yeah, this isn't good." So,
No, that's wild. I remember that happened to me one time and it was like a birth of like the evil villain type thing. I'm like, like I got burned one time and I'm like, now I've turned into the villain. Now I'm sitting here like getting into lobbies like, yeah, you want these hacks? You get the 1,600, change the name for 800, and then
yep.
have the 800 for later.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, degenerate time.
It
Anyways,
it
my
was
bad.
no, you're good. that dude, that was some dark times. But I so I guess I mostly want to talk about all the things that you're kind of associated with in terms
Okay.
of groups, anything outside external that you're allowed to talk about. Obviously you don't have
Yeah.
to. Because you have I think most people that do know you know that you have a good knowledge of how to build a brand or build
Mhm.
yourself to become more associated with other people that some people don't know. So,
Yeah.
the floor is all yours. You can start.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I'll go ahead and just give a brief description about who I am, kind of where I got to.
Mhm.
So I'll go ahead and start. You know, I've been playing video games since I could. World at War, very first Xbox game, very first online game. I beat the game, found out zombies. This is amazing, Dad. We need internet. We need an Ethernet port. Let's go. You know, experiencing the prestiging for the first time, the tanks, the MP40 with the stopping power.
Mhm.
I mean, it was what was it? That's 2009, so I had to be like 14. That was a 14-year-old boy's wet dream, just like killing Nazis and zombies and the shitty, you know, the very first night of having Xbox and all your friends are making fun of you because you don't have a microphone, so they
Yeah.
start like catcalling you and it saying things that you can't say back, so you call them on the phone and be like, "Stop, quit it, that's gay," you know, or whatever degenerate thing that was going back in the day. And
Yeah.
then through that time, you know, YouTube, Explosion, Machinima, Respawn,
Yeah.
CNanners, this whole new realm of content started coming out. I'm like, I
Yeah.
want to be that. So, 14, 15-year-old Blake, I'm like, I just need the platform, right? So I make a PowerPoint and I make a PowerPoint to my mom. The reason why she should buy me a Blue Yeti and a Hogpog HDP VR. I'm like, I have a whole presentation. And she looked at the presentation like, I could give two shits about it. Let's just go to the store, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there. I'm like, HD PVR, 1080p, 30 FPS. This is crazy.
Yep.
I'm like, C-nanners, you know? And then I'm sitting here recording shitty COD or Battlefield videos, and I just kept on doing it, like shitty Fallout 3 walkthroughs. The laptop can't even process the raw film that is recording, so using things like Fantasia. Anyways,
Yeah.
through that time, just having a great time, and then pretty much getting sponsored on YouTube through, I was saying earlier, Monster Cat Gaming, Monster Cat Music. They got big throughout the gaming scene because they had a lot of non-copyright music.
Yep.
Of course, they had the deals with Rocket League. Got popular. There's one guy, his name is Protostar. He made some music. He was a Minecraft YouTuber, was able to play with him. And then they kind of dissolved a little bit out. I mean, that's kind of what happens when they just randomly started partnering people on YouTube. I had like 300 and something subscribers. I sent a good email, and I'm like, yeah, but it was a good experience. I kind of wish I had someone like myself help me navigate that space. Just because, like, you never know what's good or bad. So anyways, graduate high school, I move away from the house. I step away from a lot of the online stuff, which was needed because I was a nerdy little fat little shit that was like 350 pounds at 6 foot, and just like, they just, just a strain on my parents and their food budget, not contributing on anything. Anyways, that was like the perfect thing for me to start getting jobs and actually get a girlfriend, get some life experiences, and really come out of that shell. And then 2016, I build another computer. I get into like just FPSs a little bit here and there, playing Overwatch and Rust, which Rust genuinely actually made me quit some college classes. Like I dropped out of my, it's interesting. I dropped out of my ethics and business class that I'm now taking again.
Oh, God.
Right now in this semester at university. And I'm thinking, man, I could have saved that money. And 2016, kind of fucking around, not doing anything on the space. 2018, of course, Black Ops 4 comes around. I make a Twitter, and the Black Ops 4 PC community, the game was just dead. Yeah. So all the people that were there, it was a super tight community, right? So it was real interesting. Like the Pug, there was a Clash Network, which they were big with the pickup game scene, and it was pretty cool because like, back then I'm like, wow, like this person's really good, and holy shit, they have 200 followers on Twitter. Like, God, like these guys are blowing up. They're big, and everybody's just going crazy on them in this scene, right? Which even some of those people in those pickup games, there's a guy, his name is Bowser, right? And he's a competitive Apex player. I think like Sentinels or something like that. I have to look it up or whatever. So like there were some people that actually went from that scene to actually go into a pro league. And it's interesting because it's like, compared to now versus Black Ops 4, a lot of those people, I'm like, oh, I kind of idolize them. I'm like, why did I? Right? Because like I was like, oh, these guys are getting 30 viewers on stream, and I say that because there was so much of an ego behind of what they represented back in the day that kind of brought them up to the stature, this pedestal. And I'm like, this pedestal was a false reality. There was no pedestal. They were just made it
right
for themselves. And then I'm like, that's not the dumbest idea though. I'm like, they built their platform and they're creating that persona, that brand. I'm like, I could do that. I could, just start tweeting out. And then boom, that sets the stage of where I was like 2019, 2020, to start shit posting my way to a online presence. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not wrong. There was some good shit. Good shit.
Yeah. A lot of things I had to delete, and I kind of miss that freedom, to be able to. I would just sit there, middle of the night, just oh man, that's a good tweet. Just put it out. If it didn't get enough likes in the first 5 minutes, delete. All good, right? But no, I had a lot of fun with it. But yeah, I still have that in my day. I have a whole like notebook of stupid tweets. And I'm like, yeah, I can't tweet that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't do that. I can't tweet that. It's just, yeah. But yeah. But I mean, that's honestly everything BO4 and before that kind of stuff's mad boring, right? Because it's just like that's just the normal gamer routine of waking up, playing a game, thinking that you're involved in the community when in reality it's so small and so niche. You're just an ant on the whole scale of things, right?
Yeah.
I could sit here and say, yeah, I was like top 15 with BO4. I'm like, yeah, with only 25 people playing the game, like if BO4 was crossplay, people complained about aim assist in Modern Warfare. Just think about that time to kill for Black Ops 4. I mean, I wouldn't even want to think about messing with people like Shotzi or a couple other people that I learned about, like in the console scene.
Yeah.
Or a controller scene for BO4, because that shit was just nasty.
Yeah, there were some pretty insane people that came out. Like that was a BZ's first that was his first game playing on an actual org. He was a S&D star for the longest. And then he's like, yeah, I'll try it. He's like, I'll play game modes and we'll see what happens. And then he gets picked up by EU Unite and wins a championship.
And boom, yeah. Yeah. Which even more cringe, I was in this like clan. It was more like a friend group where, what was it? They called themselves not EU United, but United Esports. So it was UE. Yeah, I know. And it was interesting. It was like this 50-year-old man surrounding himself with other like adult men, but then he would have these prodigies, these younger guys kind of like me. And then it was a great experience because I learned how to like tweak my PC and overclock a lot of things and stuff, but it was like a weird mentorship kind of vibe.
Yeah.
In a bad space, it could have been taken advantage of. Old men are just weird,
Yeah.
I hope I'm not doing this kind of shit when I'm 50,
right.
Like dealing with but absolutely.
Yeah, that's pretty weird.
But yeah.
So, yeah, that's the prequel stuff, and then did Red Gang just naturally come after that?
Yeah, so at that time, I remember, it's 2020. I have a lot of people that I'm connected to on Twitter, right? I have about 100 to 200 people. People through Discord, through my gaming experiences, throughout our like small niche communities. And then around this time, that's when Team EXE came out, right? And that kind of came out with that flicky aim, whatever, just aimbot aesthetic cringe, but cringe in a good way because, I always say, I feel like everything is cringe, right? Because it's just like, everything is cringe because you have to step out of your comfort zone to make something. So it's just like, it's just a matter of how much you can stomach getting past the cringe part to actually get to the quality, right? That's the thing you kind of have to, and that's how Bread Gang was. I invited so many people. It was a main thing of all these communities. And I was like, you know what? I'm finding out Twitter is 10 times more enjoyable when everybody knows each other. Right. So I'm sitting here thinking just randomly, I'm just like, how can I get people connected in a way where it's not a follow for follow thing, where people are actually connecting with people? And then that's when I made the FPS gamer Twitter, like group, not group chat, but the list where you can create lists on Twitter. And then that's when I made a Discord. I'm like, yeah, here's this long list of people. Everybody follow each other, right? It's just like everybody follow each other back. And then it's like, how do we do this? And I remember I invited my one friend, Eternity, from EU.
Mm-hmm.
Not EU, he's from Australia. And he was like, this shit's a cult. And I'm like, it is. And then I was like, I'm like, that's hilarious, right? I take a lot of self introspection whenever I think about myself and things. I'm like, it is kind of a cult. I'm like, this could go bad, but I'm like, let me try to pull as much positivity. I was like, fuck it. Everybody put the bread emote in their bio. Just put the bread emote. Don't explain anything to anybody. Just do it. Just know if somebody with a bread emote follows you, that's a bread boy, right? And bread supports bread. I'm like, fuck it, let's just do it, right? So it was just like, I would be in people's DMs. I made it a goal once a day, reach out to somebody, get to know them, and then invite them to Bread Gang. And it would be a thing of like, hey, we've been mutuals on Twitter. I like your tweets. They're dog shit, but some of them are cool. Would you like to join this stupid thing, right? Because like everybody's tweets are dog shit, right?
Yeah.
No one's that exciting of a person to make tweets over time. Right? Not even me. But so I was like, hey, and then so it was always a great thing, especially people on the lower end, where I'm like, just watch out. I'm like, everybody right here's follow all these people in this list, put the bread emoji, and just sit back. And then people would come back like, oh my God, I've gained like 100. I've gained 200 followers in one day. What the fuck is going on? And I was like, oh, that's great, because it's perfect because everybody can feel connected with each other.
Yeah.
And then some interesting things came out of that, right? Where, there was different iterations of Bread Gang. There was the first one, right? Where I think you were involved at, and it was probably like 50 people, 50 to 100 people.
Think so, maybe.
And then, semantics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then there was this second edition of Bread Gang where I really reached out, where we got up to 300 people, right? 300 people to do that. And then that's where things really started getting hard to control and manage. And some of the negative aspects of a mob mentality or bad people, where it's like you can only cover so many people, right? Especially when you have Bread as a brand, right? So Bread was never meant to be a content group. It was never meant to be anything. It just meant for a place for people to feel included. Because I noticed there was so many people on Twitter that I knew that were interesting people that deserved a voice. And I was like, let's get a voice for everybody. Because I thought, you invite people to Bread Gang, and let's say before and after, before you get like 3 likes per tweet, I'm like, if we can bring people into Bread and they have good tweets, their average likes would go to 3 to maybe even up to 20. And if somebody on the outside would see somebody with 20 likes, they would feel like they're more validated in the space, into the scene. So then they would get a follow. And then whenever people would get follows and get more interactions, that's why I'm like, this is a success. Does that make sense? It's like, who are you going to believe more? I mean, how many dog shit takes do you see on Twitter where they're solidified because they have the right amount of retweets and likes? It's like when somebody says Modern Warfare 19 feels more like a Call of Duty than Cold War. It's like, you are dumb and wrong, but you just have the platform to actually control the answer.
Right.
And I was so tired of people using their platform to bog down, especially people like you, that I was like, this guy has a valid opinion. He deserves his own voice, his own platform. So anytime I would say there's plenty of times where Bread Boys were trying to get ratioed or they were getting bullied up on. And I'm like, dude, no, flood this shit. I mean, even a guy tried to ratio me, and he was like a SOAR member or some kind of large organization person that had like 20,000 followers, tried to ratio me. And I'm like, Bread Boy, like, I need your help. And we ratioed the shit out of him, and then made fun of his hairline, and then just made fun of his name. And then of course, dude, he was like, how dare you cyberbully and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, honestly, next week, no one's going to give a shit about both of us.
Yeah.
But you got to live and die by the law of the ratio, right? So that was the base level. That was a base level. Getting people connected together.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny meme of what it was is that, this is the Bazon pyramid scheme, right?
Right.
Because it's like I'm at the top of this thing.
Yep.
And the reality is I would have these conversations with people, really try to push them out of their comfort zone to make content, because I'm like, hey, you have the platform. I'm giving you the platform. There are people this day where if you look at their mutuals, you will say you have over 200 mutual followers with this person, right? That's not like a normal thing on Twitter, right? Like it can be. But because of Bread Gang, there's so many people with mutuals that like know each other through know each other through know each other. Where that's why I really enjoyed the community I built versus like communities that creators built, because everything funnels to the top of them. But my community I built funnels throughout everybody. And I said, people, if you don't like the tweets that somebody likes, just go ahead, soft block them, unfollow them, do whatever you like. Just give it 2 weeks, follow them for 2 weeks, give them a chance, get to know them. And some people did it the right way, some people did it wrong way. Good example, I would bring I know you probably know this kind of caricature on social media, the streamer type. Me and you've been in the scene for a long time with content creation and streaming, and we understand the scene and we understand what is good and bad quality. Where you get Joe Schmo, he plays a couple games of Call of Duty, he gets shit on by a TTV, and he's like, I want to become a streamer, right?
Yeah.
And he buys like a default stream template, and he has like one of those pre-made graphics on Twitter of like a knight or something, like Night Gaming _TTV, and he just looks so out of place. And I would bring those kinds of people because I'm like, hey, you don't actually know how to use social media, right? I don't want to. Your whole social media is that bot that tells you who follows and unfollows you. You know that thing? I'm like, no one wants to see that tweet. Nobody cares that you lost 3 followers because you don't know how to all you do is retweet, right? So anyways, I would bring these people into the community, and then they would tag Bread Gang. They would use hashtag bread. They would do all these things I'm like, you do not need to market. Your idea is not to market to Bread Gang. Do not use this platform as your audience. Nobody in here is anybody's audience, right? You use this in the sense to use the platform to gather people outside of Bread Gang. Don't market towards Bread Gang. Market towards a wider audience with the help of Bread Gang, right? So like maybe you get a viewer in the stream from Bread Gang. Maybe you get a couple more likes. Those are the things that kind of keep you going. But you don't market towards them. So I'd get people all the time, hey, what bread boys want to watch me play fucking Destiny at 20 FPS or some shit like that, right? Like nobody cares.
Nobody does.
Right? I don't. I mean, I try my best to show support and stop by and just lurk.
Yeah.
Or you have the degens where it's like they have some dog shit takes, and I'm trying to be nice and not kick them out, and then I'm like, oh, like I have to kick you out because you are a degenerate. Like you are hurting my reputation. Like it's like you're an asshole. But whenever we get into these one-on-one calls, it's like, oh, you're just a younger kid that like, and I'm breaking down why what you're saying is problematic, and I'm like, okay. We got it. He's good. He's just a young kid. I've said and done a lot of stupid stuff at my younger age, especially during my time as a content creator. I wish I could take those things back. I'm like, totally fine, right? And then 5 minutes later, boom, dog shit tweet.
Yikes.
Or bullying somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So that. I mean, I could rant all day, but the magic of how much I learned. I mean, Bread Gang, specifically got me to the point I'm like, oh man, I like interacting with people in this like round roots marketing style marketing,
Yeah.
you know, because it never felt like I was marketing or trying to grow off anybody. But I'm like, oh, this is rallying people. This is like actually, what if I was able to take this power and bring this into real life? I had this idea. I'm like, I'm gonna print out bread stickers to put on a car, and every single buddy that got on the bread gang in real life, I would give them 5 stickers to give to their friends. And if you
Oh my
saw somebody on
God.
the road with a bread emoji on their car, you just look at them and just like, fight the good fight, and just see what would happen. It's like Avon, but instead of selling shitty, you know, whatever, you're just selling this cult. Like my
Yeah.
friend Eternity said, it's just a bread cult. Which is just kind of funny,
That's awesome, dude. That would actually be wild if you saw one in real life. You'd be like, no way.
Yeah. Like there's certain communities that have taken my bread gang aspect and just like I have went into Discord where I come into this world of bread and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like Discord, like the YouTuber Exo Ghost, right? Ever heard of him?
Yes.
Okay, so I remember I was in his Discord. Best way to explain it: Call of Duty YouTuber, PC focused. He had a Discord. I pretty much gave 2 people the idea of bread. I said, "Hey, you're in Bread Gang now. Congratulations!" And then I come back to the Discord 4 months later, and then I see bread emojis everywhere, and I type. And everybody's like, all hail the Bread King,
Oh
Bazon.
my
And I'm like,
God.
what the fuck is this? And they're like, yeah, so the Bread Gang has kind of taken over the Discord. And it's this whole sect of bread I have nothing to know about. I was just blown away with that.
That's absolutely crazy. You're like, what did I just do?
Yeah, so like let's say if we had to put it in chapters, right? Like that's the bread beginning, right? That's the beautiful bread beginning where it's just bringing people together and just, I don't know, just doing shit, right? Just having a good time. And then there was the second chapter of Bread Gang where it turned into the inbred chapter, where there's a lot more of these aiming groups that popped up in Twitter.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm part of one now in RevoSect, right? But like, it was always these weird Japanese fetishized, very forward aim groups. So I was like, this is kind of weird. Like, I know that it's just some kid from Utah, and he
Right.
puts a Japanese word. It's like, I don't know what the word for celery is in Japan, but they're like celery aim or whatever, right? Just weird
Yikes.
people. So I remember I had a group of friends that were making fun of Bread Gang, and they made a aiming group called Inbred Aimers. And I was like, again, my self-analyzation, I'm always sitting here thinking like, oh, I'm cringe. Oh, I'm cringe. Oh, I'm cringe, right? I'm just constantly thinking like everything I'm doing can be bullied and criticized, right?
Yeah.
And I find myself almost ready to criticize, almost ready to make fun of myself, right? Like I love it. It's just something that I've always done as a coping mechanism. I'm like, yeah, fuck that guy. So I'm like, dude, that's great. I'm like, let me help you build this. Let me help you run this. This is fantastic. This is great. This is making fun of Bread Gang and making fun of aim groups. And in 2 months, I gained 500 followers on Twitter, 500,000 impressions a month. We were it
just blew up.
Yeah. So, okay. This is where I was like, how do I take $15 and stretch it as far as I can, right? Because I was like, okay, how do I stretch $15? How do I optimize my money to help me grow in an organic way? So I was like, yeah, I can take $15 and donate on stream. So I was like, what if I take $15, I find an editor to pay, and this is the first step into like business Bazon, where I started learning about a little bit behind the scenes of this kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where I would take $15, I would pay an editor, right? So boom, I'm knocking out one person that's liking my business, right? I'm paying them. And then two, I reach out to a player, a friend, and I say, hey, I love your content. I love your aspect. I love everything about it. Let me pay for an edit for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I would get their clips. I would pay the editor. I would help the player. And then I would also support their audience by giving them content.
Mm-hmm.
And then three, being able to build all of that and bring that back to inbred gamers, right? So like in that $15, I was able to network for the player, for the editor, for the audience, and to build like an ecosystem. I was like, boom, this is the plan.
Yeah.
Like, let me do this. Let me be the guy. I was like, I want to be like, what do I want to be known for? I'm like, I want to be known as the guy getting people paid and helping people grow.
Yeah.
I was like, let me do that. So I started doing that. And started building more of a centralized ecosystem where people can come and play games with each other.
Yeah.
And have a place to just joke or, I don't know, be dumb. And yeah, it was really cool. That was everything. Now that is everything pre Team EXE, Skypad, RevoSec, but that was just yeah. I mean, there were so many people in Bread Gang that I invited that were like, yeah, fuck that. That's cringe. I don't want to join that. Or where people come in, they take the clout and then they dip out. I still know who those people are.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's the that's the reverse cringe right there. Jeez.
I mean, I understand it. Like, people have their quality, and Bread Gang was lacking that certain quality that I wanted from some of the members.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's people like, I don't stay mad at them. This is a dog eat dog world with content, right? So you have to get your shit and run with it. But then there is a sect of people within Bread Gang where I'm like, I really wish they would focus on their quality more. Because I'm like, they're just doing the same thing over and over again. I'm like, again, you know, like, you do anything and you still get the same results. You're doing something wrong.
Right.
And I always felt bad for those people because I was like, I see so much potential, right? So much quality in that person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you're doing the same shit. It's pissing me off. I don't know. Like I said, there's no reason why a dog shit person like me should have any kind of platform just because of stupid like inside jokes with ketamine or NordVPN or fucking the arm sleeve, which I have right here, or the Kovacs t-shirt, you know, in the tub, you know, all these stupid niche inside jokes, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, if I can do it, there's, yeah. Yeah.
That's all you gotta say, man.
Yeah, I genuinely miss that era of my time on Twitter, because that was when I was the most involved with people. That was when I was the most I was in most control of what I was putting out with myself and the things around me.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, like, my avenues that I'm going right now gets me the clout and gets me the money, the financials. You know, Boyd's trying to get married. He's trying to pay for this alcohol tab for everybody, you know, so I'm like, I got to do what I got to do. But I'm telling you, man, like, if I have the full knowledge of how to run a content organization. I know how to plan content. I know how to gather people around. The amount of stuff that I learned in the last year, like marketing, brand. Like, if I had the money and I had the patience for it, I'm wore out. I don't wanna do start from the beginning.
Yeah.
I was like, I know I could do it. Sorry. Yeah,
No,
that
you're
was a
good.
huge ramble.
So, did you want to delve into the Team EXE stuff? Kind of how that transpired?
Yeah. Team EXE, Team EXE was a interesting aspect because I had a lot of friends that joined the team from I played with them in BO4, played competitively. People that I looked at, I'm like, oh shit, I had my boy Race ERA7E, where he was in that beginning, and I'm like, yo, that's fucking badass. I was sending it to people. I'm like, yo, my boy's in this. This is crazy. This hasn't been done before in a group before, a COD group. I'm like, the quality. Slickini did the edit. Everything about it was just was great.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember somebody put out a vouch for me for SOAR one day. They needed like a community manager, Cuban. Actually, his name was Cuban. He put out a vouch and it blew up. It like took over the whole post. Like Bazon, vouch for Bazon, stupid not to take Bazon. Like the whole post was just massive. And I mean, I'm telling you, it completely took over everything. And I did not hear one thing from them.
Ooh.
Not even a hey. Whatever, like I'm telling you, even people that had the platform, right? I even messaged the owner, the person that put out the tweet. I'm like, hey, just getting my resume together, getting everything out and stuff like that. Which at that point I was definitely underqualified. But I would have easily taken
you would have ran away with it, man.
Yeah, I would have rocked with something, but yeah, that was my first sense of reality of clout farming for orgs, like with who wants to join this team and join as a manager, and it's all like, okay, you're just, I guess you need some impressions for some reason. That's why you're doing this. But then I showed some people around, and then there was a couple other organizations that were a lot smaller that were really impressed with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, you want to come join us over here? And I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah. And that's when I come in, because I was coming in not as a player, as a behind the scenes person. I'm like, how can I represent myself how these guys represent themselves in game?
Yeah.
Right. Usually you never see the behind the scenes people. I'm like, my personality has to stick out.
Yeah.
More than these motherfuckers. Right.
Right.
Like, these guys might know how to sit there and play the game and fucking complain about aim assist all day, but I'm like, they can't hold a conversation to me. I'm like, I got this. And it proved pretty there. I would actually say I added more value there than I got back in return. Now, I got back in return. I got like a sense of brotherhood with the people that I surrounded myself with. I was able to put something shiny on my fucking Twitter bio. I'm like, fucking whatever, right?
Right.
But yeah, I think before Team EXE, I was hitting like 3 to 4 months consistently 1 million impressions a month on my Twitter.
Yeah.
And I went down after I joined Team EXE from that to 300,000, 250,000 impressions. So like completely at the height of what I had with all my friends and all my people on Twitter, just down to, okay, I'm just casually on Twitter now.
Yeah. Did that like ever like essentially like turn you off? Like, were you like, am I actually doing the right thing with joining a team, or were you kind of like, that's kind of how life is when you get busy,
Kind of like how life is, it gets busy because you think, okay, because it's not like a motherfucker got paid for this shit, right? It's not like this is all where it's at. I mean, but it was like, okay, this is like good experience. I'm starting to learn. This is good experience. There's a lot of project management. Like whenever I came on to Team EXE, right, the motherfuckers only had one Discord chat room where they talked about videos. Just one, not even like a section, not like a Trello board or a Monday or a Notion board or nothing, right? They had nothing. So I came in and I pretty much, like, do you know what a Trello board is? Like,
yes.
or a Monday board? Like, it's the pretty much project management organization. I pretty much made that, but for Discord. And I'm like, and it went from like 2 videos a month to 7 videos a month, where I'm like, yo, we got to get this out. I mean, like even with editors and stuff like that, like editors and like thumbnail artists weren't like paid like on regular, especially with the quality. So like, oh, these some crazy videos. Like, yeah, a couple, I think there were promises made, Bob. Like from this point on, like after I joined, from this point on, people need to get paid for what they do, especially the artists.
Yeah.
So like myself and a lot of the other managers, we were pulling money out of our bank accounts, like $10 a video, like paying editors $50 to $100 per video out of our own pockets. And you of all people know that shit like really ranks up, where there's this division between, people are like, hey, this is a friend group. And I'm like, hey, we're all young here.
Right.
And we have a grasp on this youth in the community. And I'm like, we can make something here. I'm like, whenever I joined Team EXE, everybody else's impressions went through the roof. They were like, and they would say, like, even a guy named Baranox in the Battlefield community, he was like, hey guys, have you noticed that your impressions have went up ever since Bazon joined the team? Right? And it's all because of community. It's all about surrounding yourself and really getting more involved.
Right.
And I'll keep it like that. That division between, hey, this is a friend group versus this is something like a business that we can actually profit on in the future.
Yeah.
And like on our individual brands, that was pretty much the big colliding point of like, oh, okay, this isn't going to work out long term. We need to find like some solutions. And RevoSect, be it with all the positives, the negatives that might come with that, was a really good solution. Big potential to help the players get sponsorships and to reach out to a wider audience. And not only that, but just for RevoSect as well, the whole like aim training community, especially very early on, is real toxic and real degenerate and really gatekeeping. So using the content team as something to buffer away from that and to be something
stigma.
more than just that, it was huge for them. So it was a match made in heaven. It's like, yo, we get money to pay our editors, to pay our players if they do individual videos.
Yeah.
Shout out to Skypad, shout out to Aim Lab, shout out to Advanced GG for making that a reality, right?
Yeah.
So absolutely. I mean, I'm just a big person. Like, hey, somebody puts in hard work. They need to get that recognition. They need to get paid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of shit has gone down behind the scenes.
Yeah.
A lot more than what anybody, like I said, it's fucking cringe. Like we're a bunch of 18 to 26-year-olds on the internet hiding beef or hiding or doing these things behind the scenes like we're business executives. I've been with the same people the last year. We have a business meeting every Friday, like at 5 p.m. EST. We're like, yo, is the video coming out? Is this happening? What the fuck is this tweet about? Like why the fuck is this person tweeting this? And yeah, that's been like my life for the last like year. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's it's like I said, I don't know a lot of in terms of all the marketing standpoint of everything that goes on, even with the things that the 7 team did with getting sponsored by AMD and Sapphire, I was surprised to hear about it. Now, I knew it was in the conversations originally because I'm IRL friends with the leader of 7. And he was telling me about it, and I was like, wait, for real? And he's like, yeah. I was like, oh, wow. That's it's a lot of work involved. Not just for you, but for everybody else involved. So.
And you know what? Let me actually say something about them because I was the big reason why they have their like commission code and their partnership with Skypad. They are a perfect example of not allowing numbers define who they are, where they have their website. It looks fantastic. They have their players. They have their representation in Battlefield. I know they're trying to expand larger than that. I've had people like, why the fuck would you like give them a shot? Why the fuck would you give them that like representation with the Skypad brand? I'm like, I see quality right here, and it doesn't have to be numbers. Right? Like, yeah, maybe they need to get someone like a Bazon behind the scenes to help them grow, right? In that short term, to really pump some shit out, to build some community building content, to bring their content creators together, to actually foster an environment that people want to be. You have to think, how the fuck do I sell my, like, I'm buying people's times, right? Like when you're sitting on the toilet, and you're like, you know what? Let me give a fraction of a second to Bazon by liking this tweet or by commenting on it. Right. You have to sit there and think, what is it? How are you going to get that from somebody? Their time is valuable. And maybe they might need to take a step back and think, okay, let's evaluate what we like, what we don't like, and then build on top of that, get some business in it. But I love everything that they're doing over there. I love every single person gives me love. They give me nothing but respect, and honestly, same back to them. Yeah. So whenever I get people like that, we're like, oh shit, how the fuck do they have an AMD sponsorship? It's like, because they know how to represent. They know how to, you know, even when problems behind the scenes that, you know, things have happened, right? And I called them out and said, hey, you know, this might be an issue. They snip that shit in the bud, right? They're good. They're good.
Yeah. A very large squad of very good creators and players as well. So. So that covers, I think, everything. I mean, did you want to talk about your, like, how you got associated with Skypad, or was it just kind of like a, hey, I pretty much do this, and then they were like, all right, cool.
No. Yeah, I mean, I'll talk about it. It's really, I mean, I got a job with a company through a Twitter vouch.
Yeah.
How fucking stupid is that? Let's be honest. I even told him. I told the guy he's from Denmark. I'm like, you're an idiot for giving me the keys of the castle to this random dude on Twitter.
Oh,
I'm like,
goodness.
you're an idiot. You're an idiot. I'm like, I would have never done this, but I appreciate the ignorance here. I appreciate you giving me the platform to be able to really express myself, right? So I'm sitting here thinking, the tweet was like, hey, I need someone to work one hour a day, work with the CEO and everything like that, social media, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, oh, social media. I've been doing this. I can create like an environment, like I can do this. I would love that. And Skypad, first off, was a product that I bought a year before the opportunity, right? I talked to the owner before in DMs about the product. So I knew about it. I was already sold on the product, right? I used it for a good chunk of my time in Cold War. And he was like, yeah, get me more sales. He was like, I was like, yeah, like we'll get some information for you. Like, but like Spain is a hard place to target.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't speak Spanish. But actually through Bread Gang, I was able to meet a lot of great people in the Spanish community that were able to help me navigate the scene. Be like, yeah, this person's a great content creator. This person's great to reach out to. Do you want me to reach out to them for you? I'm like, no. I still have Skypads I need to give a couple people where I'm like, just helping me because I was shitty bricks. I was like, I don't know how to get sales. I'm like, this isn't what I signed up for. But I'm like, I'm not going to fuck it up. I'm going to make it work. Yeah. And I'm sitting here, the stupid idiot, giving daily hour notes of, hey, this is what I did for my hour, right? And I'm like, oh, this guy's paying me an hour a day. Like, this isn't like a full-time job. I shouldn't have to. It's just an hour a day. Why the fuck am I stressing over this, right? Like, you can lose an hour so quick. So yeah, that was an interesting thing. I'm like, hey, how do I? I'm like, how do I get sales without like a carrot, without like an incentivization for the people I reach out to? Like,
Right.
yeah, of course I can hit people up. I'm like, can we give something? Because I mean, he's big on just no, I don't want to give out like anything, like these private margins and everything like that. I'm like, hey, I get it, but like I can't just like sit here and ask my boys to pimp out this product for nothing. I gotta do something, right? Sending out products to people. So it's just like, I was like, okay, I was like, this is what I know. I know a lot of content creators. I know a lot of friends. I'm like, let me try to hook them up. Let me send out some SkyPad to some friends. Let me hit them up with a commission code. Let me work with them. And kind of went from there, where it's just like I was able to get some products into some friends' hands, some care packages, some products, the arm sleeves, things like that. And they were able to look out for me. And then I started having people all the time hit me up like, hey, Bazon, I'll do a review for a SkyPad, things like that. And they'll hit me up, and I usually do a follow-up with them. And then now it seems like now versus when in August, it feels like everybody knows about a SkyPad in the community. You see everybody and their fucking mother buying them for aiming or for a cutting board or whatever the fuck they want to use it for, but they got a SkyPad, right?
Right.
And because of that, like I'm happy I was able to have a tool set to be able to provide to people because a lot of these guys, these were the first like partnerships that they were able to have. So it was really nice to be able to work with these people and it kind of give them their first reality of what a partnership would look like. And then to be able to like show people like, hey, how valuable your brand is. I'm like, these numbers, I'll talk to them. Hey, these numbers right here, these are not small dog numbers. Like, you actually have a grasp on your market. And there are actually multiple people that I help out on a daily basis where I'll reach out to them like, yeah, oh, you have a partnership meeting? Bring me in. I'll talk to them for you. I know exactly what they want. I know exactly what they need, what they want, what they're trying to envision. I'm like, I can make this sell for you.
Yeah.
Like there's a friend named Bali the legend. He has a job with Flash Gaming. I got him that job. I taught him how to grow on Twitter. Now, I've taught a lot of people how to grow on Twitter. It's just a matter of actually somebody taking the advice I give them and actually working on it.
Right.
This is the only guy, because trust me, we could sit out a whole rule book on that fucking whiteboard over there and I could teach someone how to grow on Twitter, right? But nobody actually takes my advice.
Right.
So I love it that I get to use this platform to really try some experimental stuff with branding and marketing, gaming focused, while getting people products, getting people money, getting people paid, and elevating their self-worth. And that shit is dope. and that's pretty much everything that SkyPad has kind of given me. It's like, yeah, like I've talked to multiple Overwatch pros, multiple Valorant pros, multiple, I mean, even like a couple FaZe members, a lot of top tier people in the COD community. I mean, I've been able to be in DMs with them, and talk to them. Yeah, like I mean, they want a fucking glass mouse pad from me, but you know what? If I get to talk to them just for a couple seconds, fuck that. Like I'll do it, And that's the difference between where I'm at before. Like people followed me before because they wanted dog shit tweets, but now a lot of people follow me now because they want a glass mouse. So that's why I'm like, oh, I can't tweet about ketamine anymore.
But you
because
can, you can say that somebody got a mouse pad and you're like, that was me.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, thank you, SkyPad and Bazon, for the mouse pad. And I'm like, hey, you're welcome. But yeah.
Hey man, I mean that's still crazy. Like I said, I knew enough of what you were like obviously doing in terms of like marketing, but I didn't know a lot of the backstory of anything, and I just kind of watched it happen. I was like, oh, this might be a real thing. So
yeah, I appreciate the interest. I mean, it's definitely interesting. It definitely has its kind of like, okay, you're an ant, you're nothing.
right.
Why the fuck should I have this hour to talk about this inflated fucking whatever you want to call it, right?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's cool. I mean, I'm just glad to have met people like you along the way and be able to talk to you and be able to play with people and to, I don't know, just help and grow. Because it's like, hey, you had this platform when you invited me on. I'm like, fuck yeah, I want to join this podcast. Hell yeah, I want to see this shit. So it's just cool.
Well, now that we've covered the whole background, right? Let's talk about some Call of Duty. Because as we found out before this, we probably both had started around the same time. Actually, you would have started earlier than I did. Now, did you ever play comp before?
No, it just until Black Ops 4.
Okay.
That's when I started playing COP. Yeah, or actually, I'll say it. I did play in World at War and Modern Warfare 2. I played game battles.
Yes.
Yeah. I played game battles, but that's it. You know, was I good at it? No.
That's how it is for a decent amount of people. I started in Black Ops 2.
Yeah.
And ironically, my one buddy, that's part of our little niche group, we actually met on Nuketown 24/7. There was a little weekend split that was like the whole thing. So we literally met each other and we just kept playing. Like we're just playing like casuals, just, you know, obviously fucking around and murdering people. And he's like, all right, I gotta go. He's like, I gotta go do game battle stuff. And so I'm like, well, what the fuck is that? So he's, you know, obviously describing it to me. And back on, we both played on PlayStation 2. So at the time, everybody was like, oh, you know, PlayStation isn't where the pro scene's at. So you're actually just dog shit. Nobody cares. And we're like, hey, shut the fuck up. All right, we're gonna smoke you anyways. So. But so but he left for a while and then was like, okay, he's like, what, have you ever like wanted to try it? And I was like, I guess. I'm like, I don't know, like I'm a casual pub star. I think I'm amazing. And then we play our first match and I'm like 4-10 in a search game. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, that's
how it works, right?
I'm getting absolutely railed. And he's like, dude, I knew this was gonna happen anyways. He's like, so that's why I was just chilling. But yeah, I started then, and then kind of did you ever play Ghost?
Oh yeah, I played Ghost, yeah.
Did you like Ghost or
hell no. Hell no.
You know, so dude, okay, so many people say that game was bad, but Search and Destroy and Ghost was the best. It was so fucking good, and I don't know why.
So I'll give it to you. Yeah, sure. Yeah, like, because I played PlayStation 3 and then PlayStation 4 on Ghost, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know everybody, I think, as the casual kind of standpoint, you know, like playing the campaign and then playing the game, I'm like, these maps are way too fucking big. I'm like, this is horrible. These maps are, don't even get me started with that Stonehenge map.
Oh,
right? Like, I don't know what it's called.
Yes, that was the best map ever.
you know why? My thought process and why that game has such a scene, and please correct me because you're going to know more, is because that was the only boots on the ground PlayStation 4 game for the longest time where it had the old school feel of Call of Duty. Everything after Ghost was advanced movement,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, it was.
So I always felt like, okay, like I understand, like I would think that um boots on the ground S&D just in general could like have a really good experience, and I felt like like it's like I've played this before, just better,
Mm-hmm.
right? Be it like Modern Warfare 3. I personally like Modern Warfare 3 a lot more than Ghost, but I see the appeal though. I see the reason.
I have a dog shit. It was literally, I think, my first like quote unquote montage I've ever done for Call of Duty. Is all of my Ghost S&D clips, and like some of them people are like, dude, you're actually just playing like nobody. But what people don't know is in like 3 of those clips, they were all in tournaments, and they were all against top players in tournaments. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? That was that, like, there was so much stuff that happened in that game that like that was like my coming out of my shell game where I actually
Yeah.
got good.
So how old were you at that point?
Let's see. That is 13, right? 2014?
Yeah.
So I would have been 22, 21, 22, between
Okay.
there. Somewhere around
Okay.
that age.
I give that. Yeah.
And I was,
I
dude,
can understand that.
I was on fucking
You're
cloud nine.
fried. Yeah.
I was a freaking menace. I don't know why. Like, everything just started clicking, and then I was like, holy shit,
Yeah.
I'm actually really good.
Yeah. I think that's weird because that point, when Black Ops 4 came out, that's when I'm 26 now, and I think had to be would be 04, 2018, like 22, around that age, right? Where it's like, okay, my brain's here, I can actually function where people are gonna be. I mean, I don't know about you, but like, let's say that was my peak and that was your peak, right?
Well, I
And
wouldn't say it was my peak. It was like when I actually like. I would say it was a relative peak.
okay.
Black
When
Ops
would
3
you
was
say
my peak.
so Black Ops 3 was your peak?
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Oh
So
yeah.
Black Ops 3 for me, I didn't play them. I think after Advanced Warfare, that's when I started falling off, and like a little bit with Call of Duty. And I remember Advanced Warfare. I bought Titanfall 2 instead of Advanced Warfare. But to be honest, I kind of wish I got Advanced Warfare because Titanfall 2 on PS4
Some people
was
see.
mid.
Some people say that Titanfall, or not Titanfall 2, Advanced Warfare was like good. I don't know. I didn't enjoy Advanced Warfare. Um, Mostly because, again, I was playing like number
BO3.
one teams. Well, we literally played the number one team, I think, on UMG, and I knew 2 of the guys. They were really predominant, like West Coast tournament winners, like on the regular. And this kid had we played him in respawn, so we're playing a hard point. And this man has an LMG. He knows the wall bangs, and he's wall banging me as I spawn. And I'm like, no
That's for Advanced
fucking way.
Warfare?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
That's how ahead those kids were. I was like, bro.
Yeah. Fuck that. Yeah. A little too
Dude.
much. Yeah. I mean, how was did you play BO4? Like how was that scene?
So so the way I'm pretty sure it went, because here's what happened with me and my duo when we played. We only played, I think, like 30 matches, maybe less. The we played one round where there was a glitch where if if it was like a certain round count at some point, I can't remember, but it would actually swap the team colors. So your teammate would look like the enemy, and then the enemy would look like friendlies.
Oh shit.
I don't know if, and this was in like custom games. This isn't like the CDL playlist custom games or nothing. But that was a bug, and I actually lost a 5-5 because of it because I blasted my duo, and I was like, no way. It's like, what the fuck is this
Yeah.
shit? So we both stopped playing, and um, I don't know if you've heard a lot of like the developer cycle of Black Ops 4 at all. But essentially, like half their developers were like, fuck. They were working like 18-hour days and, just really bad work conditions. So a lot of people atone to the game's crappy starting feel at the time to that. And then they patched the game pretty hard, I think in like March or April. And then the game took off like a rocket. Some people think that was like the biggest release ever because everybody just loved it, and I was like, really? Like, dude, I'm not trusting what anybody's saying. Like, I'm probably gonna have my fucking teammate look like the enemy again. I'm like, I'm not playing it. And then I played it when Modern Warfare 2019 came out, and I was like, holy shit, this game's actually pretty fun.
Yeah.
So
I feel you there. I mean, Black Ops 4, that one almost cost my relationship, right, with my fiance that I have now. I developed a vitamin D deficiency. I had to at least have gained like 50 pounds just from like, I mean, it was just something about that game where with the movement where you were able to have keybinds on the keyboard where you wouldn't have to mantle anything. You could jump in the air, crouch mid-air, and then just kind of slide on the objects. There was no mantling on anything.
mm-hmm.
And there was just a fast pace to it. And like it actually felt good it was the first Call of Duty game that actually felt good, like with the FOV and the frame rate and everything like that, because they had help from the Overwatch guys. And oh, it was just now I'll give it right. Apex came out that year.
Yep.
And I played Apex. And I'm like, fuck Black Ops 4. I'm like, this game just feels I would go back to Black Ops 4. I'm like, this feels laggy.
Mm-hmm.
Like this does not feel right. I don't want to play Russian Nuketown anymore. I'm like Apex. I was going crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really like these maps. These maps are really good, and I didn't appreciate those maps until Modern Warfare came out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I tried to play competitive on Modern Warfare, and I knew it was going to be a clash between the controller and mouse and keyboard when my pickup game Discord service started bringing in controller players, and they were fucking frying. Right? They were just going crazy. Like these guys, pick up the MP5, before any YY or anything like that. I'm like, yeah, this kid's crazy. And yeah, and then of course comp came out for Modern Warfare, and I'm like, if I have to play on that fucking one map again, like I don't know, just everything. I never could understand where people were coming from, where people were at, because I was so good at just understanding map knowledge and spawn knowledge, and then the time to kill was just so fast. I'm like, gosh, man. I'm just like, gosh. I'm like, I just can't do it. And then of course, Cold War. I'm like, oh, this is what good maps are. I'm like, this is what even the worst map, right? The worst map is that tank map on Cold War, right?
Garrison
For me, out of all of them. I mean, yeah, because it was very one-sided in certain spots, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, I would take that any day over Piccadilly. The only good Modern Warfare map was Hackney Yard for me. That's it.
So what was way when I played, because I played with 7 in a tournament in Modern Warfare, and my best map was either Petro, St. Petrograd or Gunrunner.
Gunrunner. Yeah.
That map I liked. I always popped off
Yeah.
that map.
Yeah. The hard point spawns were like really easy to read, and
yeah, so
rotating was pretty smart.
I've talked about this with my buddy. And you know, again, for some people that don't know past Call of Duty's histories with Hardpoint and kind of what happened with Modern Warfare and even with Vanguard right now, is the whole notion of squad spawning. I have seen it actually happen firsthand, and I went, that's not good. On Azir Cave, it's the one that has the little cave on the one side. On the P2 hill, there is like a little like wooden area. That's where the hill's at, like where the back car is and the sandbags. Yeah. And so the anchor point is, aka the closer spawn, is the one that is behind the sandbags. You can literally run around the corner, kill somebody off the sandbags, and then stare back there, and their whole team will spawn there again. That's because that's how squad spawning works. Is instead of how Call of Duty was originally at the time, which was, okay, if this person's back here, then he needs to spawn out to make the spawn even. And then, you know, that's how it is. In that game, it's like, well, if you hold a zone, as long as you have somebody in that zone, everybody just spawns right there. And it's like, holy fuck. So there was a time, like, I literally killed somebody, and I said, all right, I flipped the spawn. And then I slide, and then there's two people that spawn back there and kill me. And then we spawn out again. I'm like, dude, what the fuck?
And then it's even worse when you're like playing with randoms, and then they're in the worst spots.
Oh yeah, ever. And they're just being complete goobers. It's unreal.
And you think, and you're like, oh, we're playing Hackney Yard. I won't have to fight too hard, right? And it's like, no, you're spawning on the complete opposite side because these guys don't know about map control.
Yeah. But like those games are so hard to learn, like, respawn effectively. Like, everybody has to be on the same page. Like, you can't just have one
especially
person.
For 5 people.
Yeah, well, yeah, especially since it was 5v5, and it was 5v5 in BO4 too. Oh my god, I forgot about that. Oh yeah. That was so fucking crazy, bro. For how fast you can move, and then you have a kid grappling above you, and he just grab slams half your team. You're like, that's fun.
See, that's why I do hear the sect of, like, you know, a controller, like the controller space is very split on people that like and dislike Black Ops 4.
Yeah.
But for mouse and keyboard, it's like, yeah, that kind of fast movement and doing everything like that was just nature to it. I'm like, this is great right here. I'm like, I want more of it, you know?
Right.
And I think that's a big reason why I think Titanfall is slowly kind of getting more popular within the PC scene. People are starting to notice it a little bit more with the mods that make it actually playable.
Yeah. Yeah, because obviously you can't play the base game with all that shit going on.
Fucked, yeah, exactly.
I liked Black Ops 3. So there was a movement mechanic that was not intended. They called it, they quoted it the G slide, and so essentially it's hindering the game's slide and jump to work at the same time. So essentially, like, you just skip off the ground and you just fly forward.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And once everybody started learning how to be good at it, like, search was fucked because the spots that you normally could cut off, like, somebody's already there, and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah. Timing's just off, and just like, what's going on?
It was actually pretty nuts. So.
That makes sense, yeah.
But man, that game was
so then
fun.
where is the state of how you feel about Call of Duty right now? Like, are you still stomaching it right now? Like,
no.
what's
so I can't remember if I tweeted something about it or if
are you even watching it
podcast. Oh yeah, I watch it. I like watching, like, pro level, but in terms of playing, I will probably never play it again until any Warzone mechanic is out. Like I don't want 10 attachments on weapons where you can also have 3 perks and you can also have 2 grenades and you can also have a secondary with a shitload of attachments. It's like you that's not competitive. But Warzone's booming, so obviously they're like, well, people want it, and everybody in the comps like, no, well, no, we don't. You know, looking back at, I think Black Ops 4 was pick 10, I think, or pick 12.
Yeah.
But I told my buddy, I'm like,
pick 10 just makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, like imagine Modern Warfare with a pick 10 system. I think that would work because MP5s don't become too broken. ARs are not laser beams. Not everybody's running like the bullshit perks.
And no having all this while the fact that you can still have your grenades and your tacticals, but no trophy system, no concept. I know obviously World War II, but at that same time, still nothing for that. That boggled me. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy how the casual community loves Modern Warfare 19. The competitive scene hates Modern Warfare 19. They were like, I'm not gonna break another controller, breaking cameras. And then the whole scene pretty much hating Cold War. I mean, I genuinely would have friends just like, why are you playing Cold War? You're fucking crazy. And I'm like, this league play, this system, this whole master system, this thing's addicting. I hit is it masters, the purple, the top level one? I hit that like every single season. I was like, the adrenaline was rushing. I'm like, I'm beaming, kid, just having the greatest time. Like, especially if you have good friends,
Yeah.
I actually felt like I was competing really well, even as a mouse and keyboard player compared to any other time. Like, it was just a great time.
Yeah. I believe it. Yeah, I'm trying to remember a lot of like the other games outside of Black Ops 2 tried to use like a rank play system and it was like complete dog shit, so nobody ever used it.
One at BO2 had a shit rank system.
Well, BO2 wasn't the best, but I mean it was.
Then why do I see people on my timeline like praising the BO2 rank system?
Oh,
then?
They're looking through rose tinted glasses. 100%.
They're like, give it back.
Like
Apex is doing it right. Apex is killing it. For rank.
So the way that I believe even now it's set up in Vanguard is how it was in World War II, where you actually had a physical MMR value, which I think Apex has the same thing too. But what a lot of guys liked from that was all the people that were at the top were obviously all pros. So they said instead of trying to create like an 8s lobby or a money 8s lobby, they said just queue rank play and we'll just play each other. That's essentially 8s right there.
Yeah.
So I mean, it did a good job of dividing, like pros to complete doggy fart players, but
yeah.
But I mean, like even in Black Ops 2, like I remember all the times I made it into the highest. I think the highest was called master rank. I can't remember. It was green. And I remember I lost all 4 of my placements and I still ended up in it. And I'm like, what? Why? Like, why am I here? Like, this makes no sense. So, I don't know. Like, some people say it's fine, but I'm just like, it definitely wasn't.
Yeah. I got you there.
So,
yeah, I mean, as everybody's saying, FPS is just in a weird state right now.
Yeah.
But to be honest though, I think that's a product of we play way too many video games. Nothing is ever going to be new, right? We're in that relationship with the same bride. We're not changing anything up. There's no foreplay. We're not doing anything. We're just going in straight in. It's just like, I mean, people genuinely think I'm going to play 40 hours a week and still want to get enjoyment out of whatever the fuck you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm like, you got to step away.
Yeah.
You know, like, I would hate to be a game developer right now. I mean, people would probably be sending me bombs in the mail if I was a game developer because I just would. Okay, like how do you create a product? Because I'm starting to notice, like in the peripheral market, right? And it's pretty similar to like just game design, right? Yeah, you can focus on a niche market, right? And maybe that niche market is the better overall product. But if you know for a fact that you're able to sell more products if you generalize your product, why the fuck would you not do that? Why would you not let it target the overall audience?
Right.
You know, like that's how you have so many different competitive games have failed because they just want to cater this competitive market that, to be honest,
It's not that big.
I mean, it's not that big one, and those nerdy ass motherfuckers just like us, we don't know what we want. Right? Like we know what we want once we've tried it. But we can sit here, oh yeah, like I want Black Ops 2, I want Modern Warfare 2 remastered. I do not want Modern Warfare 2 remastered. Holy shit. Holy shit. Like what, have a game that was completely broke. I mean, you could go in hardcore, put on stopping power, put on the underbarrel shotgun, and kill people across the map on Scrapyard, you know, and just get people going crazy.
Right. Yep.
I mean, or, you know, pulling out the akimbos, right? Just going crazy.
Yep.
Or the nah. You know what kills Call of Duty? It's not the developers, it's the community.
Oh,
they're
for
like,
sure.
yeah, let me find the setup. Let me squeeze as much fucking juice out this shit, right?
And then do it again next year. Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see. I think Modern Warfare 2, the rematch, like whatever you want to call it now, that's coming out, that is going to farm like crazy. That's going to go crazy. I hear that it's going to have a Escape from Tarkov mode.
Oh boy.
I'm pretty excited about that. I know Battlefield fucked up on that. They had like some kind of I don't know. I need something new. I'm gonna be honest. The one of the best FPS games I've played is not like a Call of Duty or not like that. It's a game called Rust.
Yeah.
It is a survival game.
Yeah, my buddy gets into that mood. He plays Rust.
I'm telling you. Again, I almost ruined my relationship with my fiance that I have now because I'm like, babe, I have to go. I'm getting raided.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
My buddy had scheduled times to get on, and he'd get on at like from 2 to 8 in the morning. I was like, dude, what the fuck? I'm like, you're actually weird.
Yeah, I've never wanted a break. Like, it's just, if they were able, okay, I have this concept, right? The moment that they're able to take our consciousness and put it on the internet, right? You know what they're going to do? They're going to figure out a way to allow our consciousness to create energy online. So like if we online, like let's say there's a virtual treadmill that we can go and it will create electricity. The moment that they are able to do that, they're going to pump as many people into the internet as they can, right?
Yep.
And I say that because the thought of having something like Rust where the time you put in is what you get, and you could put in 10,000 hours, but if you're not good, you're not going to gain anything. And to play a wipe a whole week with a whole group of friends and to have one friend steal everything from you, right? And like and raid your base. Like let's say there's one sneaky motherfucker, like to have a game to actually make you want to kill somebody
Mhm.
because they stole all of their shit. That's good game design.
Yep.
That's fucking art. Call of Duty has never made me feel that way. And that's where I think NFTs are cringe. I don't do crypto. I don't do anything, but like, if they're able to make a way into gaming where they're able to intertwine that real life aspect, dude, it's gonna make people go crazy.
It will. It sure will.
But that's kind of scary. I don't know if we need that. Got way too many problems already. Like I said, shout out to Rush, shout out to Black Ops 4. Almost ruined my relationship. Almost lost my girlfriend for it. Just put. I mean, I have probably about. I put about. Like when I was younger, Modern Warfare, I put about 30 days played in Modern Warfare 2.
Mm.
For Black Ops 4, I put 32 days played. I hit Master Prestige 4 times in that game.
Jeez.
Like hit level 1,000 and just have level 1,000, dark matter, everything. Fuck it. I forgot to restart to get the one emblem for the 100%. Let's just do it again.
Oh my goodness.
And then get up, and then pretty much got up to like level 200. I mean, that was an addiction. That was just bad. I don't think anybody should do that. Actually, I don't think anybody should play a game. I don't think anybody should do anything that me and you are doing. We're not good examples.
Yeah. We're not setting great examples.
That's okay though. We'll let other people be good examples.
Exactly.
I don't have a fucking kid.
Oh man. All right. Is there anything else? Any questions you want to ask me? Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, just like what what makes you kind of continue on your social media platforms? What kind of gets you, like you said, whenever you have that same kind of self-identifying action of like, okay, why me, right? Like when you said, when I followed you, you're right. Instead of saying, oh, cool, there's this guy that followed me, you ask yourself, oh, why me? Why do you feel that way? What makes you, instead of saying, oh, cool, another follower, you come up with the question, oh, why me?
I don't know. Like there's I kind of that's the best way to say this. Now I have to actually
and I'm
think. I know you're being.
Give me one.
Oh, you're good.
But please, no, yeah, I'm listening. I'm just gonna grab something. I can hear you though.
No, you're good. I don't know. I just kind of in general just question things. I'm just like, oh hey, normally like things kind of transpire. So like if something kind of blew up like a clip or whatever, I'd be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But I don't know. I mean, like I really didn't do anything, and I didn't know if there was like any association with anything that I like partake in, and I don't know if that transpired with anything that you were part of. Like when I played Rocket League, I had content creators follow me and random players follow me from time to time. But I mean, like at the time, I was like, why? I'm like, what did I do? Is there like something out there that I don't know about or what? Yeah. But it wasn't like anything like in terms of a derogatory sense. It was just like kind of interested.
No, I understand that. I definitely actually have a lot of questions. I'm just
go for it, man.
A long ass week. Fucking multitasking.
I feel it.
Yeah, so what Why do you why do you do what you do with everything, with gaming, with the internet, this whole like fake thing that we do? Why do you do it?
I do it just like as a hobby. Like I honestly like the thing I remember when I was watching like all of the older YouTube community stuff like Machinima and like Sea Nanners, Hutch, Mr. Sark, all those guys. I was the one thing that they always said, you know, whenever they did like Q&As
Sorry.
was why do you do like did you expect to be like famous? And they're like, no, I just did it because I like doing it. And I was like,
Yeah.
you know, he's not wrong. Like I like to just post random funny clips or good clips or
Yeah.
you know try to make my own montage or something. Like I just do it as a hobby or you know just something to have fun with. You know, let the
Of
time kind of
course.
pass.
Yeah. Do you have any like things in your life where okay, so I'm doing this. We're all like grown men here. We all have the realities of life that hit us every single day. Where we're like, okay, I gotta get ready for work and get this shit done, right? And you got people depending on you. How does that motivate you to expedite your experience on the internet? Like to make sure, like what do you sorry, do you have a pathway of trying to improve, trying to continue to learn and get better whenever it comes to this internet shit?
Like in terms of like how to operate, I guess is that like the best
Yeah,
way.
yeah, like how to
Um,
operate, people skills, editing, whatever.
yeah,
Any skill that could apply to yourself.
like um like I would like to edit my own stuff. I'm not trying to become like a top tier editor. I
Yeah,
like it's just it. I don't mind like learning things because I think it's cool and you know it's just something that's like always in the back pocket. You could just be like, oh hey, I actually know how to like use this software or like whatever of the sort. Um,
yeah,
you know, and I'm not an expert in it. I but like I can at least tell people like, hey, at least I kind of have a general grasp of kind of what is going on and uh how everything works. So yeah, that's pretty much what kind of provokes me to learn it is because I just want to learn
yeah. Of course.
it.
So and like what do you do? Like who is the person behind the screen?
Like what do I just do in general?
Exactly. I know your whole life isn't surrounded by competitive Call of Duty.
Oh
You
no.
know, like what makes you you. You know.
Let's see. Um I am going to school for computer science.
Okay.
Um, you know, I work, I have real friends that I associate with. I have
Shout
gaming
out to them.
friends I associate with,
Yeah.
Um, I try to balance everything out as I can and uh that's pretty much it, you know. I just kind of
Keep
vibe
in the
out.
grind.
That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. In the zone, vibe out. Yeah, yeah. Totally understand that. It's a very transitionary period. I'm right there with you there. I'm really trying to get past that like I'm almost to the point where I'm sick of learning. You know, I'm just
Yeah.
sick of I know that's a bad. What was it? There was one thing I learned from T Pain that he said one day. He was like, you can't coast upwards.
Yeah.
You can only coast downwards." And I'm like, "Fuck! I got a long journey ahead of me,
Yep.
and I'm fucking tired of this shit." I mean, I like my past week on Twitter has just been like, if I see one more person get canceled or shunned out the community
Yep.
or some drama or like I see some kind of stupid drama or like some dog shit take. I'm like, why am I on this app? I'm like, this thing, like this. I mean, there's so many times I get blitz out of my mind, right? I take an edible, I'm like, whoa, I'm fucking cringe. Like, this is cringe what I'm doing. I'm an entity on the internet. Like, this is not a thing. And worse, I'm not, what's even worse, I'm not even an entity. You know, I'm just like a person that maybe 10 people know about. And I'm just like, this is just like, oh, it's just so crazy. Just the whole thought of it, the whole thought of being a part of something that's bigger than yourself, the whole part of like everything on this is just zeros and ones and just fucking, uh, you know.
Controlled by literally people, maybe even on the other side of the planet. You're just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. Like I go to work, I work in human resources, right? And I just like, yeah, like I'm just completely just nothing. I'm nothing like the person that I try to express and push for people, you know,
Right.
to be better and to do better and or whatever. Connect, like, hey, networking and connect with people and make connections. Like I'll tell people all the time, like, yeah, just make connections, talk to people. You think my ass is making connections with people in the office at work? No, fuck those people. Like even though it would be really good for me to do that, right? But
Right.
uh, yeah.
Alrighty. Well,
But anyways, yeah.
yeah. See, now you get to know more about me.
Yeah, no. It was actually it was really nice. I appreciate being here. It
So
was fun.
yeah, I think we'll wrap this up here. We got a good amount of stuff discussed between the both of us.
Of course.
So I once again greatly appreciate you doing this. Like I said, it's just
Okay, where can I get this platform? Where's this podcast going live on? YouTube?
Yeah, it's gonna go live on
Spotify?
YouTube.
Oh,
So,
beautiful.
but yes, I thank you so much for doing that. And thank you to anybody that watches this. I appreciate it. If you enjoy it, leave a like, share it with anybody that you want. I don't give a fuck. Go check out all my other content down below in the link too. We're gonna have all of Bazon's content, so go check out his shit. All right. But for that, thanks for hanging out with the boys. We are out this bitch. Peace.
See you guys.